Hello beautiful people, my name is Mutombo and I am a Cameroonian content creator as well as many other things, but let's keep it at content creator for now. If you're new here, I recently made a video talking about some of the things that I learned about South Africa in the 2 years that I lived there, specifically in Cape Town. I talked about so many things. I'm going to leave that video linked up here, but but that video was the first of a 2-part series talking about my experience in South Africa. So as promised, here is part 2. Before we get into our video talking about the culture shocks that you are going to experience if you are leaving from Cameroon or a similar country to South Africa, specifically Cape Town, let us talk about the reception of the previous video. Amazing reception, guys. Thank you so much for appreciating my point of view, understanding where I was coming from with some of my points, and also for turning the comment section into the education of Mutombo. Topic: South Africa. Whew. One thing that's for sure on this YouTube, and that I expected, actually, say one wrong thing and get multiple corrections in the comment section. I really enjoyed the interaction, and also for those of you who subscribed to the channel based on that video, thank you, you're welcome. So let's get into our culture shocks video. And this, me wearing my Cape Town t-shirt, is not an error, it's a strategic move, because me having Cape Town across my chest is going to remind you as you watch this video that I actually love Cape Town. The fact that I am talking about things that I noticed there does not mean that I am insulting South Africa or insulting Cape Town, because anyway, this was not the general, the general reception on the last video, but I just realized that even if you say something that's not offensive, somebody's going to find it offensive. So I'm not trying to offend you. Language. South Africa has up to 11 national languages, and that's a lot compared to the 2 national languages that we have in Cameroon, where I come from. Don't get me wrong, the tribes in Cameroon all have their various mother tongues, their various dialects and all of that. What I like about the way South Africa has approached it is that they've made the dialects official. If you look up the official languages, spoken in South Africa, you're going to find Xhosa, Zulu, and all these other languages that I'm going to list here. It's really amazing. And where I was taken aback is the fact that it's actually very normal for people to just walk up to you and speak to you in whatever their dialect is. I cannot tell you how many times people would literally just, on the bus, in the streets, anywhere, they just start talking to me in Xhosa. And then now I have to just gently tell them, oh, sorry, I actually don't understand. I don't understand this language. I don't even know which language this is that you're talking to me in. Like, I cannot identify it. They're like, oh, sorry, Sissy, sorry. So, Sissy, what language do you speak? And I'm like, English. That is not a language. I mean, your language, your own language. What language do you speak? I'm like, oh, no, okay, I'm not from South Africa. I'm from Cameroon. They're like, yeah. In Cameroon, what language do you speak? I say English. Your mother tongue. What language do you speak? I'm like, hey, oh. So even if you don't speak any of the South African languages, you are expected as an African to know your mother tongue. Like, it is a symbol of pride. When I say, oh no, don't worry about that, even if I say something in my mother tongue, you won't understand. They're like, no, go ahead and say it. And that was me bluffing, because I'm not very fluent in my mother tongue. I only know, the basics. If we are discussing in Mendankwe or Bafanji, which, my parents' language is mother and father. If we're discussing in one of those languages and the conversation just tears, like just a bit away from basic things like how are you, I'm lost, bare minimum. So when they tell me that, oh no, go ahead and say something, I just look at them. Don't worry, no, I'll reply to you in Xhosa. Wena. That's the one Xhosa word that I know, like the one. Wena. Fluent, right? Anyway, all of that is to say English is not an African language, French is not an African language, those are European languages. What is your own language? So that's the mentality, and I love it actually. Sorry, I'm just editing this video now, and I just wanted to add that. Another thing that I felt the need to point out is the fact that Cameroonians also do favor the mother tongue. Most parents would prefer that we speak the dialect in the house, but the thing is that there are so many different languages, so many different tribes, that once you leave your village to go to the city, the probability of you finding another person who speaks your dialect is very slim. So you don't just go up to people in the streets and you are just speaking your dialect, except if you're in the village. Or for some of us who are from very small villages, when I went to school, my siblings and I were practically the only Bafanji people in school. And that's also another thing that makes it difficult for you to learn your dialect once you've left home, once you start going to school, because who else would you speak it with? Practically nobody. So it's not that Cameroonians don't like the dialect, it's just a bit more difficult to integrate it into our day-to-day lives, especially if you leave the countryside or if you leave your village and go and live in the city. You would literally just be talking to yourself all day if you insist on speaking in your dialect, except if you go and live maybe with family, or you go and find some sort of community where all of you are from the same village. But then it's very difficult. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out so people don't misunderstand what this whole point is. My parents tried to teach me, like they tried their utmost best, but know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. So speaking of language, here are a few slangs that you might pick up while in South Africa. So the first one is ne. Ne. What does ne even mean? It's one of those words that you would just learn as per the context. You would just learn what the word means based on the context in which it is used. But I see most people append it to the end of their questions. You're coming, ne? Like, are you coming? I feel like most people just replace their question marks with ne. So as I say these slangs, please just go into the comments and tell us what it means, what they mean. There's also Nzanzi. Nzanzi is just slang for South Africa. I don't know if it comes from a dialect, to be honest. The way we call Cameroon Kame or Mboa. Nzanzi is also just slang for South Africa. Sisi. I think Sisi just means girl, to be honest. I've never looked it up. Somebody told me it means light-skinned girl, but I see everybody calling every young girl Sisi. So please help me out. What does this particular one mean? You also hear Wena a lot, and I think that's Kosa. It means you, right? Yo is exactly what it sounds like. It's like an exclamation, like, yo, I'm so tired. Yo, you're beautiful. Yo, just to emphasize anything. But I mostly use it when I'm tired. Yo, those stairs. I think that's the one that I picked up. All of these other things, I don't really say them, but yo is one that I could not resist. It's just that one word that just means exactly what you want it to mean, and just conveys the exact emotion that you're trying to convey. So yeah, yo is part of my vocabulary now. Thank you, South Africa. Or should I say, thank you, Nzanzi. Another thing that I noticed is that most people don't use the word should. They use the word must. I had a roommate while in South Africa. Hi, girl. And when leaving my room, she would say, must I close the door? And I'm like, nobody's the boss of you here. You must not do anything, but yeah, it would be nice if you close the door. I grew up understanding that the word must is used for obligation. You must brush your teeth in the morning. You must be in class during the time that you're supposed to be in class. Like, must is very categorical, a very strict word, for lack of a better description. If you tell somebody you must come to my house, it sounds like you're ordering them to do it. Even when I'm ordering food, they're like, must I bring salt? I'm like, you must or must not do anything. Oh, I'm not here to order you around, but please bring salt. My reaction to somebody saying, must I do this or must I do that, instead of should I do this or should I do that, it was always, you must or must not do anything. I feel like you think it's your duty to do that for me. No, it's not your duty. If you say, should I close the door for you, then I feel like, okay, it's a bit more friendly. It's a bit, yeah, so it's just semantics. And obviously, I adapted as anybody would. So I don't know if this particular one that I want to talk about is regional to certain parts of South Africa, but there is a certain way that some Black South Africans talk that is so captivating. They emphasize certain parts of their sentences and it sounds like it's coming from the bottom of their diaphragm. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. So I'll leave some clips here.
I really wish you'd have taken the time instead to scroll and just peruse the comments.
You're happy? Makeup. You're sad? Makeup. Confused? Makeup. Frustrated? Makeup. Jonga? Flabbergasted? Makeup is the answer.
Is this thing that exudes confidence? Did I nail it? No. Confidence. I can't do it. But when I watch South African YouTubers, South African TikTokers, I always notice it. Like, it's nice to listen to. I love it. Diversity in South Africa. Okay, before we talk about South Africa as a whole, let's talk about Cape Town. Cape Town is a melting pot. You know, after a while of staying in Cape Town, my friends started asking me, oh, so now do you fit in? And I was like, no. Cape Town is not a place where you go to fit in. It's a place where you go to stand out. People just don't fit into predefined boxes in Cape Town. Everybody is just their own person. Everybody is different in one way or the other. So yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think South Africa is the country where you see the highest number of other Africans. Cape Town is very diverse. You are going to see people from all over the world in Cape Town. You're going to see people from all over Africa in Cape Town. I mean, I have Kenyan friends, Tanzanian friends, Zimbabwean friends, South African friends. Personally, for me, I think part of that is also because of the course that I was studying. Most of the classes that I took had a maximum of about 9 or 10 people. And apart from one class that had about 19 participants, I never sat in a class, like in the same class, taking the same lecture with with a South African. Everybody else was a foreigner. So anyway, that just goes to say it's very diverse. You're going to meet people from all over the world in South Africa, all races, all kinds of professions. It's actually very exciting. South Africa is where I've learned the most about other cultures. For example, I've learned a lot about South Africa as well as a lot about Kenyans by living in South Africa. Also, for some reason, when I'm in South Africa, everybody thinks I'm from Nigeria or that I'm Nigerian. Please, pray tell me, what is it about me that makes you think I'm from Nigeria? I'm kidding, I already know what it is. People say I sound Nigerian. Because I'm light-skinned, people think I'm from Nigeria. Cameroon also has very light-skinned people. Excuse you. And even when my Nigerian friends tell me that I sound Nigerian, I'm like, really? So in your head, you think I sound like you? Shots fired! Pow, 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 pow! Please. If you're already getting offended, please just calm down. Calm down, it's a joke. I am joking. I'm joking. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. I actually do see how people perceive my accent as Nigerian. So I'm from southern Cameroon, Bamenda to be specific, and that is the English-speaking part of Cameroon. And we share a border with eastern Nigeria. So you would find that most of the tribes in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon and most of the tribes in eastern Nigeria are very similar. We have very similar cultures, traditions, accents. And also, if you look into the colonial history of Cameroon, especially southern Cameroons, you're going to see that there was even a point where when we were getting our independence, we were asked to vote whether or not we want to be part of Cameroon or part of Nigeria. It's actually very interesting to really get into African history. Sports. So, you know how in many countries in West and Central Africa, the biggest sport there is football. In South Africa, there are 3 very prominent sports: cricket, rugby, and football. Up to today, I have no idea how cricket is played. I have no idea how many players there even are. I have no idea what a cricket field even looks like, but I know that it is a very big deal in South Africa. So if you really want to get into sports and participate in conversations, learn your cricket. Please, for people who just like to understand what they want to understand when they hear somebody say something. I am not saying that in South Africa they play only 3 sports, because I know that people are already preparing to give me a list of all the sports that are played in South Africa in the comment section. I am saying that there are 3 prominent sports. Obviously, South Africa will have a basketball team, as well as does Cameroon. We have a national basketball team, but it's not as prominent as football. That's what I'm saying. Activities. South Africans love outdoor activities. Braai, hiking, surfing. Anyway, for the coastal cities, paragliding. Like, there are lots of activities. You like being outside. Anyway, this is not a reflection of Cameroon, because also in Cameroon we have outdoor activities. Not as many, but we also have outdoor activities. Okay, for example, in South Africa, with my group of friends, right, if they say, oh, go chill on the beach or go hiking, most of my friends will go hiking. But in Cameroon, if they say go and climb Mount Cameroon or Mount Fako, or go to Limbe and chill on the beach, all of us are going to go to Limbe to chill on the beach. What kind of strenuous thing is this hiking you speak of? Like, intentionally put this stress upon my body to go to the top of the mountain? Nah. Anyway, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. I went hiking a ton in South Africa. I didn't enjoy it, but once you get to the top and you see the view, that climb would have been worth it. Ooh. Like, whenever I'm hiking, going up, I'm always like, ugh, never again. But when I get to the top, I'm like, I want to live here. I want to live on the top of this mountain. It's just gorgeousness. It's just beauty. Like I said in my last video, South Africa is beautiful, as well as is Cameroon. But you know, the focus of this video is South Africa, so yeah, gorgeous. Anyway, I understand that most of these things are prominent in the places where they are prominent because of the terrain. But I used to go hiking as a child. Like, when I'll go on holidays with my family, we went to Limbe, we went hiking, we hiked, we went and we actually touched the hot rocks that had erupted from Mount Cameroon. Like, the rocks were actually still hot. So yeah, in Cameroon we do have outdoor activities. We go places, we explore, we travel, but it's not ingrained into the culture. Like, for example, the way barbecue or braai, as it's called in South Africa, the way braais are ingrained into Cape Town culture. So yeah, those are the culture shocks that I experienced living in South Africa. But to go along with the culture shocks, there are also certain things that you just see and your heart feels warm because it's familiar. The way people talk about their upbringing, there's a certain kind of strictness that we attribute to African upbringing. Of course, we have that in South Africa, especially among, you know, black families. It's a thing. So when I see people talk about their homes, it all feels very familiar to me, and it makes me comfortable enough to say South Africa is my second home. So that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please take this video with a grain of salt. It's supposed to be a light-hearted video. We're supposed to laugh together and, you know, just appreciate each other. I'll see you guys in the comments. If you are new here, please do well to subscribe. We have lots of fun on this channel. Woo, ciao, I'm already sweating.
The ride or die. CJ Ike, they ain't no longer about. They ain't no longer about.